Hi, I'm Leigh Wishner, the FIDM Museum Registrar and Coordinator, and I'm standing in an area of permanent collection storage I normally don't find myself in for this week's unboxing. That's right, I'm in menswear territory, and I have a really special piece to show you today. Nestled between Stephen Sprouse and Issey Miyake is a piece I'd like to pull out in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're going to take a look at the tangled history, pun intended, of a textile made in New Mexico and one fabulous piece made from it by Manuel Cuevas. So here's the coat, but before I jump into Cuevas' rich story, let's get up to speed on the fabric. This is a weft-faced wool tapestry weave, informally called chimayo, and it's been made in northern New Mexico by Hispanic weavers since the early 18th century. Chimayo fabrics are often confused with Navajo, Diné, and Mexican blankets, and there's a good reason for that. Chimayo style is derived from the Saltillo serapes of New Spain, which blended European, Indigenous American, and Asian influences. Navajo weavers were influenced by serapes, and New Mexican Hispanic weavers were re-influenced by the Navajo. In the 19th century, changes in yarn color and quality led Navajo weavers to produce eye dazzlers like this stunner in the Art Institute of Chicago collection. And guess what? Hispanic weavers in turn produced their own dazzlers, and this is how we get to the chimayo. I'm showing you a photo of a blanket and also a postcard of the Ortega family weaving at traditional looms like they've been doing since the early 18th century. American tourists. In the late 19th and early 20th century, chimayo weavers were enlisted to make small-scale souvenirs to merchant specifications. Often these were advertised as chimayo Indian weavings to capitalize on consumers' interest in Native American goods. Here's the back of the coat. Merchants were influential on chimayo design by requesting modifications, and as we examine this coat, I'll point out the most significant change. And now for Manuel Arturo Jose Cuevas Martinez Sr. If I asked you, what do Elvis, Johnny Cash, and the Beatles have in common? The answer is Manuel. He put them all in these career-defining looks. Manuel was born in Mexico in 1933. He learned to cut and sew from his oldest brother, a tailor. He moved to Los Angeles to work with renowned tailor Cy DeVore, and next was a crucial stint with Nudie Cohn, the rodeo tailor known for his glitzy stage attire. Manuel designed costumes for Hollywood studios, working closely with Edith Head before he established his own business, which became the go-to for up-and-coming musicians and celebrities in Los Angeles. This is the custom label for a piece he designed for a professional hockey player. In 1988, Manuel moved to Nashville. By that time, he was called the Rhinestone Rembrandt, but there's another nickname that will ring true when we look at this elegant coat, the Armani of Western fashion. This custom duster was made in his LA shop in the 1980s. Manuel really uses a chimayo blanket to its fullest in this design, and he was known to scour New Mexico for chimayo material to transform into blanket jackets and coats. Sylvester Stallone and Bob Dylan sprung for them at $7,500 a pop. The amount of black in this fabric leads me back to the early 20th century and the tourist trade. In order to speed up and simplify production to meet tourist demands, merchants asked chimayo weavers for a key modification: large expanses of unpatterned fields. Simple request resulted in the classic chimayo style that you see here, punctuated with bold serrated diamonds, and the blankets had banded borders, which Manuel actually turned into the sleeves. The only accents necessary are silver buttons. The blanket Manuel chose for this coat keeps within the most traditional palette for chimayo weavings, but he was known to use a more electric and contemporary palette as well, as evidenced by this jacket. And the grand finale for this Mexican-born fashion creator and influencer who really deserves to be a household name is this photo of Manuel wearing one of his creations as he measures his client, the man in black. So I'm going to read to you something that Manuel said that tickles me. He's into making practical clothes with a little hot sauce, and that his work combines his Mexican heritage with what America is all about, from the natives to the settlers to today. I hope you've enjoyed learning about how many cultural influences were blended into the creation of this magnificent coat. Thank you for joining me for another unboxing, and Viva Manuel!